Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Bookmakers Reviews coverage of the Bundesliga. We are BMR. I'm your host, Martin Green. I have Matt Lawerence alongside me, and we are covering all 9 fixtures taking place in the top division in Germany this weekend. Starting with the first game. I believe this is the early game, isn't it? The Friday night game between Cologne and Augsburg. Should be a pretty entertaining game, Matt. Augsburg aren't the highest scoring team, but Cologne are just such a kamikaze team that you normally see both teams scoring when they play. Are you going for goals in this one?
I do like goals a bit in this one. It's hard not to with Cologne. I mean, they've been scoring them. They also, they've scored 23 and they've conceded 23. But yeah, their attack is in pretty good form. They've scored a goal in all of their last 4. And Augsburg have been scoring as well. I mean, they were in a 3-2 match last weekend against Bochum. I mean, that's very interesting to say the least. But yeah, I think that I think that both teams have scored. So yeah, it's hit in the last 4 for Cologne. It's hit in the last 3 for Augsburg. Put it all together. I like both teams to score, yes, but the price isn't that great. It's at like minus 165. So I have included it in a 2-team parlay, and I will release the other both teams to score yes later on in the show.
Okay, great. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, I do think that looks like a good one for a parlay. So yeah, if you if you look at the stats, both teams to score has paid off in 12 Cologne games so far this season. Augsburg, like I mentioned, they're not a particularly high-scoring team. They draw a blank on quite a number of occasions. In fact, they failed to score more times than anyone else this season. But Cologne have not kept a single clean sheet all season, which is just outrageous, really. But it does make them a fun team to watch. They are very good going forward. It's the Friday night game. There's going to be a lot of eyes on this match. Everyone's going to want to put in a big performance. So I've gone for both teams to score in over 2.5 goals. It's the artist formerly known as Alex Classic, and that is what I'm going for. But I think for my official plays, I've just put down Cologne versus Augsburg, both teams to score. I got minus 138 on that when I put my tips through yesterday, but I would throw in over 2.5 goals for a bit more value there. Okay, next up, we're going to go to the capital. We have got Hertha Berlin up against Arminia Bielefeld. What do you make of this one, Matt? This one really didn't grab me at all, to be honest. Yeah, not got much on this one. Hertha just languishing above the relegation zone. Arminia, not a great team either. What do you think?
This was probably the easiest pass. I haven't been involved in a Hertha match, I don't think yet. In the last few weeks, at least. Like I don't know what to expect from this team. They really struggle to collect 3 points, and they're here in this favorite role, and this is a complete pass for me. I would I mean, if you look at just some of the matches that these two teams are getting involved in, I mean, there has been some both teams to score yeses. That's probably where I would go. I'd look at both teams to score, but yeah, nothing concrete to make it one of my top selections.
Yeah, big game, isn't it? In the old relegation dogfight. I mean, if Hertha were to win, they would move reasonably far clear of the relegation zone. Obviously, Arminia, they've only won once all season, worst attacking record in the division. But I just can't trust Hertha. I mean, they're winless in 5 matches, shadow of their former selves. Don't like this one at all. Let's just move straight on to the mighty Bochum versus a very talented Borussia Dortmund team. And I bet on Bayern Munich to beat Borussia Dortmund at the weekend. And I was pleased. That Bayern Munich did win the game. But I thought Dortmund were robbed a bit. That was harsh. That penalty against Hummels was very harsh. Jude Bellingham obviously caused a lot of controversy afterwards, saying, "What did you expect when you're putting someone who's done match fixing before in charge?" So he's in trouble. But yeah, it was unfortunate for them. But they channeled that anger into a very emphatic win against Besiktas in midweek, won 5-0. So they're full of confidence right now, coming up against the Bochum team that don't concede many at home. But like you said, Matt, they were just involved in a 3-2. So I've teed all that up. What are you going to go for?
Oh, I think in Dortmund matches, something that is always maybe a good look is, I mean, their defense isn't that great, but when Holland's in the lineup, their attacking firepower is outrageous. I couldn't really find the value here, but I do think that both teams to score, yes, and Dortmund to win, that makes sense, and that price is at plus 170. That's where I would go here. Just don't really trust Dortmund's defense, but and I think that it's harsh that they were knocked out of the Champions League. I think that they wouldn't have been, obviously, if Holland didn't have those injury problems and match days 3, 4, 5. But I think that them being in the Europa League, finding themselves in that competition, I think that they can feel like they can win that tournament. I think that they'll be one of the heavy favorites, and I think that they should be. Anytime that you have someone like the robotic Erling Haaland, you always have a chance. I mean, the guy creates something out of nothing. What a goal with his right boot against Bayern. That was just, I mean, he is probably the best striker in the world, if not, maybe it's Lou, but I've got to say, I mean, I would be taking Haaland, and it's incredible what he's doing. So, finding a way to get him in a parlay of an anytime goal scorer, his price isn't that great, but parlaying it with someone else and trying to get it closer to even money makes sense to me as well. So those are just a couple little nuggets that I had, Martin.
Well, I've parlayed Haaland with Dortmund to win at minus 115. That's my take on this game. Borussia Dortmund to win, Erling Haaland to be the man that fires them to victory. Minus 115 looks great to me. Since coming back from injury, he's scored 3 times in 2 games. And like you said, he is just a force of nature, this guy. Yeah, Lewandowski's kind of a different striker, isn't he? He's really good at getting on the end of crosses and stuff. But the pace and the power of Haaland to run past players and stuff, he is just unreal. I mean, I guess it's between him and Mbappe. They're both very talented players. But I would probably take Haaland if I was offered either of them at the Emirates. Not that either of them are going anywhere near the Emirates, unless it's to turn up and beat Arsenal 5-0 in a pre-season friendly. Just looking at the like you mentioned it there, Matt, the futures for the Europa League. Some bookies do have Dortmund as the outright favourites. Some have Barcelona as joint favourites with Dortmund, and you've got Sevilla in there, and then it's West Ham, Lyon, Napoli. Yeah, I think Borussia Dortmund on their day could do a number on Barcelona. So yeah, that might be a fun bet if you can get about plus 800 on Dortmund. Go each way, get half your odds if they get to the final. Sounds great. Okay, next up we have Bayern München. Like we said, they did beat Borussia Dortmund at the weekend. And like we said, Matt, did a number on Barcelona. We called it, thought they were going to win, and Thomas Müller was the man to score. Were you impressed with their performance to knock Barca into the Europa League?
I was. It's just, it's the Bavarian way. I mean, ruthless. I even sprinkled some again at halftime that they would win in the second half because that's just what they do. I mean, they want to come out and they want to embarrass you. It's as simple as that. And they did it. And so, but when we're, turning a corner to the weekend against Mainz, I like Mainz to score here. They've scored in their last 9 matches. We still aren't that high on this Bayern defense, when you're really looking at it. So this is the second part of my parlay, Martin. I've gone with both teams to score yes in this one, and I've combined it with the Cologne Augsburg match for a good price at plus 180. I really like it.
Wow, like that a lot, yeah. Bayern beat Mainz 5-2 at the Allianz Arena last season. But then they lost 2-1 on the road to Mainz, which was a shock result. So, yeah, both teams, the score has paid off in both of their last 2 meetings. I can definitely see Bayern conceding here, but I think they'll be keen to keen to enact exact revenge for that 2-1 defeat, and I think they'll certainly do it. Like you said, it's the Bavarian way, it's the Bayern way. They don't respond kindly to any sort of loss or any slight that they feel they've suffered, as in Lewandowski's not winning the Ballon d'Or. So yeah, I think 4-1, 5-1, 5-2, some crazy scoreline like that we'll get. For that reason, I've gone Bayern minus 1.75 on the Asian handicap line. It's just an inevitability about Bayern. They just crush teams. I think they could crush Mainz this weekend. But yeah, I can see Mainz scoring. So there you go. Next up, we have Freiburg versus Hoffenheim. And Freiburg, Matt, roared back to form last weekend. How did they beat Borussia Mönchengladbach 6-0 at Borussia Park?
Remarkable stuff, Martin. I think the Freiburg are extremely underrated. And look at their last 16 matches. They haven't been beat in 13 of those 16. They're a really tough team to beat and collect 3 points on. And this is a great match. 4 versus 5. Hoffenheim are in pretty good form as well. But I'm siding with Freiburg here in the draw no bet market. I don't think they get beat. I think they collect all 3 points against Hoffenheim. So this has made my best tips. And yeah, I love what I'm seeing from Freiburg. They've bounced back from a skittish little bit of form. But again, I mentioned, I think last week, those were against quality opponents. Bayern, Frankfurt. I mean, those are quality opponents. Bochum was an interesting flop, but yeah, they roared back last week, winning 6-0, and I'm gonna stick with them. I think that Freiburg are the better team.
Yeah, I think they're going to be really full of confidence, Freiburg, and I can definitely see them getting on the score sheet here. I've also been impressed with the way Hoffenheim have been attacking. 11 goals in 3 games. Albeit 6 of them coming against the mighty Fürth, which we'll get to later. But yeah, for that reason, I've gone for the artist formerly known as Alex Classic. Both teams to score and over 2.5 goals on this game. Hi to Anderson John. Kimmich out for the rest of the year. We were just talking about that before the show. He has a lung infection, doesn't he? Following, I think, complications due to COVID, which sounds a bit worrying for a professional athlete when normally they seem to bounce back from COVID really quickly. That is a concern, definitely. Wish him well, but sure that Bayern will have more than enough quality to cover in his absence with Quarantine Tolisso in midfield. So, yeah, I think, yeah, we're still good with Bayern. Let's have some hi Barca man. Let's have some Barca man tips. We've got Dortmund half-time, full-time at 2.25. Dortmund to score in both halves at 2.04. Like it. Haaland to score 2 or more goals at 3.45. Bayern to win both halves at 2.3. Bayern minus 1 Asian handicap. Lewandowski 2 or more goals. Freiburg over 1.5 goals. You're putting us to shame here, Barca man. You're more picks than all of us put together. Both teams to score in both halves at 9.0 in that Freiburg game. Wow, that'd be fun, wouldn't it? Both teams to score in both halves. Half a unit on that at 9.0. Wow, love it. Okay, next up, RB Leipzig, who have just appointed Domenico Tedesco as their new manager. Former Schalke boss, fired in 2019 after, remember, they got absolutely annihilated by Man City. It was like 7-0 or something. They sacked him after that. He's been out of work ever since. So who better to come in and steady the ship at RB Leipzig? But they have been pretty good recently, Matt, and Gladbach just lost 6-0. So looks like it could be a Leipzig win.
I think so. I think so. Hopefully we can get some kind of new manager bounce here in this one. Really tough for me to find and really gauge Leipzig. They've just been up and down. You don't really know what you're going to get here, but this is just a complete fade of Gladbach right now. I think that they're in really bad shape. Yes, defense will be on their mind after conceding 6 last week to Freiburg, but I believe that Leipzig will still be too strong, and I've played them on the money line at around minus 125. That is a good set of odds, at home. I think that they can get this job done. I wouldn't be shocked if there's a both teams to score and over as well. I mean, that's generally what happens in these Leipzig matches. And it's just really trying to figure out what is going on with Gladbach right now. They're in awful form, and I'm going to pick on them here. And then I just wanted to make a comment on the Kimmich as well. The player really that is going to step in and shine is Musiala. He scored a goal yesterday against Barcelona. He's young. He was, English and half English, half German. He pledged his allegiance to German football. He is an up and coming star, and he is going to be the guy that should be able to fill that hole. And it's a huge hole to fill because Kimmich is one of the best midfielders, or also right fullbacks. He's just one of those brains, those engines that can do everything. So it's a huge concern for Bayern to lose him if he's out for an extended period of time.
Yeah, he's the new Philip Lahm, isn't he? But probably more suited to being in that holding midfield role, I would venture. But yeah, Goretzka's out, Sabitzer's out. They're having a bit of an injury crisis in midfield at Bayern. But it didn't seem to slow them down yesterday, did it? So who remind me who the midfield duo? It was Musiala, wasn't it? Musiala and Tolisso.
Yes.
You've got Steele and Guile there. I think that's a strong blend of Steele and Guile, with Thomas Muller dropping deep and giving them another option. I still think they'll be good enough to get the better of Mainz. And just looking at Gladbach injuries, no injuries. It's so hard to explain why this team, who have been so strong for the past few years, have regressed so badly. 4-1 to Cologne, 6-0 to Freiburg. It is shocking stuff. And yeah, I have to pick on them too. Leipzig just beat Man City in midweek. Leipzig are not a bad team at all. Starting to find their feet, getting a new manager bounce, hopefully, under Domenico Tedesco. Let's go for it. I'm all over the Leipzig win. Next up, we have Wolfsburg versus Stuttgart. Wolfsburg just failed to qualify for the knockout stage of the Champions League. How do you see them getting on against Wolfsburg, Matt? Against Stuttgart, Matt?
Difficult, and they're out of Europe entirely. So unless does fourth place go to the Conference League, Martin? I haven't really been able to keep up with the whole Conference League thing.
I don't think so. I don't think they do. As soon as Arsenal missed out on the Conference League, I just switched off.
So in this one, this was one of the easiest passes for me. I just don't want to get involved with Wolfsburg after this huge Champions League group stage letdown. I think it might be a good opportunity to find a way to get on Stuttgart, but their away form is pretty bad. So, yeah, put it all together, Martin. Pass.
Pass. Easy pass for me too. Right, drum roll, please. It's time for the mighty Fürth coming up against Union Berlin. It's our favourite team of the week, Fürth, Greater Fürth. We've been betting on them every week. They've been paying our bills, paying our mortgage, putting our kids through college. We love Fürth. Absolutely hammered 7-1 by Leverkusen last time out. Conceded 6 against Hoffenheim. This is an awful team. They've broken a Bundesliga record now for 12 straight defeats. They're coming up against Union Berlin, who have only won once on the road this season. But surely, Matt, Union have to beat Fürth. Everyone beats Fürth. Me and you could beat Fürth.
I think so too. And the only real concern here is that, Union, they play today in Europe. So I mean, that's the slight concern, but it's not going to keep me off of betting against Fürth, Martin. That's as simple as that. I can see Fürth getting on the score sheet. I mean, they've scored in a few matches recently, and they've been in the same price range of this like minus 125, minus 150, minus 175 when they're at home. And when you look at Union, 7 of their last away matches have seen both teams to score. I mean, I wouldn't fault anyone for taking Union to win and both teams to score. I'm just going to complicate it a little bit, but not too much here for me. It's going to be Union and over 1.5 goals in the match. Found that at under minus 110, Martin. It's just amazing stuff. I do just want to continue to pick on them. I mean, look at how many goals have been in these Firth matches as well. That's another maybe angle to look at as well. It's just taking the goals line. How many are Union going to score? It should be able to cover it on their own. And I think that Firth will be able to contribute in some way, shape, or form. I mean, they've scored a goal in 5 of their last 6, remarkably. It just lost all of them, Martin. So there's so many different angles to play. Maybe go back to what I played last week, Union to score in both halves. That might be another angle that I look towards. But yeah, we've been cashing left, right, and center on Union Berlin, or just fading Firth. Excuse me. Sorry to even mention anyone else but Firth. The fade of Firth is back, Martin.
Yeah, I need to get a Firth shirt. I really need one because I owe them it. I owe them at least a shirt to pay back some of the money they've paid me this season. Firth games average 4.14 goals. Only Bayern games are higher scoring, and Bayern's are for the right reason because they're so good going forwards. Firth's are for the wrong reason because they're conceding so many. What is it, minus 34 already, their goal difference? Yeah, minus 34. They've already conceded 46 goals in 14 games. They're awful. I saw Union at minus 133 yesterday, so I just put it through. Don't complicate it. This is I have to keep betting against Firth until they finally let me down, but they haven't been letting me down for a long time. So yeah, I'm going all in, betting against Firth. What's anyone in the comments doing? Have we got Banker, says Anderson. Don, of course, yeah. Mauscala says Firth always score at home. So yeah, Barca man, Berlin to win and both teams to score. Berlin to score in both halves. Yeah, love Berlin to score in both halves. Vivica Crystal's going for Firth to score over 1.5 goals. Sounds about right, yeah. Sounds like we're thinking maybe 3-1 or something to Union Berlin in this game. Would be great. Let's keep on fading Firth. Okay. Final game of the round of fixtures. We have Eintracht Frankfurt versus Bayer Leverkusen. I was really tempted to bet on Bayer Leverkusen in this one, Matt. They won 3 on the bounce, but I'd put so many picks down that I just left it out in the end. And Eintracht are a decent team. They've been climbing the table in recent weeks, so I wasn't 100% convinced. What about you? Are you going for anything here or are you passing?
I ended up passing in this one, but it is very interesting. I mean, these two teams generally get involved in high-scoring games. BTTS has landed in 8 of Frankfurt's last home matches. When these two teams meet up, the last 8 times that these two teams have played in all comps, over 2.5 goals have been seen. And Leverkusen have scored 1+ goals on the road away, from home in their last 11. So put it all together, I think that Leverkusen win this, but there's really no reason for me to take either side and just bet on goals. This one is, if you're watching, I think this one needs to get added to the card. Both teams to score and over 2.5 goals in this one. It makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly what Anderson Don's going for in the chat. Barca man's got Leverkusen draw double chance and both teams to score at 1.96. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Like I said, I was very tempted to bet on Leverkusen. I still might. And Schick anytime goal scorer. Yeah, it's great for Leverkusen to have Schick back. Put 3 or 4 past Firth, didn't he? All in the second half. He just came into his own, was banging in chances left, right, and centre. So, yeah, well done to Leverkusen. They're up into 3rd in the table, and I can see them finishing 3rd this season. They're a good team. Okay, thank you very much, Matt. Right, to the wizard, please. Can we have the picks, Gandalf? All right. There we go. See, I've got 6. I couldn't even fit Leverkusen on the screen. That's why I had to give it a rest. So I went for Cologne, Augsburg, both teams to score at minus 138, throwing over 2.5 goals there for a bit more value. Bayern minus 1.75. Dortmund to win and Haaland to score at minus 115. Straight win for RB Leipzig, got minus 120 on that. Still would take it at minus 125. Hoffenheim, Freiburg, both teams to score and over 2.5 goals, minus 116. And I did a straight win for Union Berlin. Let's keep fading Fürth.
Keep fading Firth. I mean, that is the motto of this show. It's been and it will continue on, Martin. I feel like, yeah, you might want to throw a couple extra units on Union just because of what's going on in the Firth camp. But so, yeah, I'm on Leipzig at -120 to get the job done against a reeling Gladbach side. Freiburg draw no bet against Hoffenheim, and I'm on Union Berlin and over 1.5 goals. I was shocked that I could find this even close to even money. I mean, just give it to me. I'll gobble it up all day. And then a parlay, both teams to score yes in both of these matches, in Cologne, Augsburg, the Friday night match, and both teams to score yes in the Bayern Munich Mainz match.
Nice. Like it a lot. Okay, thank you very much, Matt. Thank you to the Wizard. Just see if we've got anything more. No, everyone in the chat is happy. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us. We did Serie A earlier. We've just completed the Bundesliga. We will be back tomorrow with the Premier League and La Liga Primera. And we hope to make some more profit at the weekend because it's been going great in the Bundesliga and in Serie A. So let's hope it carries on, Matt. Thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you to everyone in the chat for watching on. And we'll see you tomorrow.